campus. And I think we can help you have an interview and we want to have questions about your health insurance, what's the coverage like, and where to see it out, and get your health insurance. So today is the day where we will get answers and we have a presentation for health insurance. We have small presentation and have answers to all the questions. We also have our members from Personal Communication, CCSI, or here. And they have a list of questions for people already. Maybe you can hear the questions in your presentation. So maybe it's about you to take over from here. Thank you very much.
I'm going to use this mic today every time I go to the So as now I mentioned, I'm with Fireside, and we partnered with Centennial to give a comprehensive emergency insurance plan. So I'd like to talk to you about that today and talk to you about things that we cover, things that we don't cover, some things that are covered. And I'd like to talk to you about how to access healthcare in communities with access to and how to claim and how to do website, things like that. So that's the health insurance portion. And I'm also going to talk to you a little bit today about a very exciting program, thank you, that we have as a team last year. And that's the Kidney Safe program. Centennial is one of the first colleges in Ontario to actually offer this program to its students because it's committed to success. So I want to talk to you about that as well. But let's start with insurance. And one question we often get is, why do I have to buy medical insurance? And this is the best answer I can think of. Healthcare in Canada is incredibly expensive, very expensive. So these are just some examples of some prices. If you go to a doctor, as an international student, you're going to pay at least $60 for just a regular walk-in type of visit. If you go to a specialist, it can be all the way up to $300 or more. Emergency room, if you go to the emergency room, it's going to be at least $500. And an ambulance will be anywhere from $250 in Toronto to over $900 in Vancouver. Okay, so very, very expensive. In the hospital, I have these students up here, I know, but in the hospital, it'll be thousands of dollars. If you break your arm, it can be more than $3,000. We paid over $10,000 for a broken leg a while ago. And appendix surgery can cost almost $20,000. And so, very, very expensive. Just one night in the hospital can be incredibly expensive. So this is the reason that you really need an emergency medical insurance plan. This is what your gardening card looks like. You may not have it right now. Does anybody have your gardening card right now? Is anybody here? Okay. Okay, so we're going to get your show to us. Thank you very much. So if you don't have it now, you'll get it by the end of the weekend. It will be emailed to your inbox, your close inbox. But you're covered right now. You've been covered since May 1st. So if you're sick, you can go to the doctor. I'm going to talk a little bit later about direct billing clinics. And a direct billing clinic is a clinic at which you don't have to pay money up front. You show your garden ID card. If you show that card, well, you're okay, great. And you're on the So it's just like a picture except in black. So this is a garden ID card. Okay. So you show this card at a direct billing clinic. Thank you very much. And for eligible business, you can receive through the billing act of pay money, and they will bill us directly. If you go to other clinics, we need to pay up front and then they have a claim for insurance. And I'll explain that a little bit later. So your dependents are not automatically covered. Dependents are your spouse or your children, not automatically covered. So if you would like coverage for them, you can visit the international office and ask them to help you with that. Okay, make sense? Yeah. Awesome. So your gardening plan, let's just get right into it. We pay 100% of eligible costs. Okay, so there's no deductible, no co-payment. If you go to a doctor and it costs $60, if the visit is eligible, then pay you the $60. We don't pay a portion, and you pay a portion. Yes?
What does it make eligible?
That's a great question. So it's really important to know what's eligible, right? Because if you get 100% eligible cost, so it's not eligible, then we would pay it. So I'll talk about what's eligible. But anything like hospital fees, x-rays, lab testing, prescription drugs up to a 30-day supply, all of this is up to the policy limit of $5 million. There are other benefits as well that have their own lower policy limit, things like medical services, massage therapy, acupuncture, chiropractic, things like that. So, you get rid of benefit summary. Let me know if you have any questions about anything there. And we'll have time for questions as we go on. But first, let's talk about what's eligible. So let me start with what's not covered by the plan. This is an emergency medical insurance plan. So it covers anything that's new and emergent. Emergent means that it requires medical treatment. So things that began before the policy started aren't eligible for coverage under the policy. So health issues that you had before you came to Canada. Also, routine maintenance of chronic ongoing conditions are not eligible for coverage under this policy. So, for example, something like diabetes or asthma, these are known as chronic ongoing conditions. Somebody with diabetes might have to take insulin before each meal, okay, and they might have to take blood sugar readings. They might have to test their blood sugar every day. The cost of the insulin would not be covered under this policy. The cost of the blood testing kit would not be covered under this policy. Okay, but if a person with diabetes were to have what we call an exacerbation to the condition, if they're doing everything they should be doing, they're eating properly, they're not eating candy for breakfast and things like that, they're taking their insulin, and for some reason it gets worse, then under the conditions of the policy, they're eligible for 100% of, they're eligible for reimbursement of 100% of costs to bring them back to a stable condition. So things like the hospital stay, any diagnostic testing, any medication changes, things like that, to bring them back to a stable condition. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay, great. Non-emergency dental work. So teeth whitening and things like that are not eligible for coverage under the policy. If you have pain and suffering, that's a different story. That is eligible for coverage up to $600 per policy year. Okay. And treatment or assessment that's not medically necessary. So I might want a nose that looks more like Harrison Ford's, but it's not going to be covered under this policy. Okay. I might want more hair. Those consultations and that kind of treatment not covered under the policy. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, great. So just some examples of things that are covered and not. If you injure yourself, it's eligible for coverage. Massage, if it's a therapeutic massage, it's different from a relaxation massage. So if you wake up on a Saturday morning and say, I feel like a hot stone massage today. Not eligible for coverage. Okay? Whereas if you injure yourself, and it's an injury that happens after the policy start date, and you require medical treatment, that is eligible for coverage. Okay, so what you need to do when you go to a massage therapist is you need to ask them for the medical, because our claims team needs to know whether or not that is eligible for coverage. They need to know whether or not it's medically necessary. Without those medical notes, they don't know. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay, great. Colds, flus, upset stomach, headache, things like this, eligible for coverage. As I mentioned before, plastic surgery, no. Okay. We cover very small things up to very major things. So hospitalizations for eligible conditions. If you get sick, if you require hospitalization, then that would be eligible for coverage. Things like teeth whitening, orthodontics, teeth straightening, all those sorts of things would be eligible for coverage. Any questions about this? No? Okay, great. Your coverage is worldwide. So you're covered everywhere in the world except your own country. Okay? But if you went to the USA, for example, you'd be covered up to 30 days in the USA, not more than 30 days in the USA, because I don't know if you know this, but the USA healthcare costs are higher than Canada's. So there is a limit of 30 days in the US, but everywhere else in the world except for your home country, there's no real limit, but at least 50% of your time should be spent in Canada, because you're in school, so you should be here anyway. So if you get sick or injured, there are basically two ways to access healthcare in Canada. You can go to a clinic or you can go to a hospital. Clinics are for minor illnesses or injuries. Hospitals are for major illnesses or injuries. So what's an example of a minor illness or injury? Can somebody share one out? Fever, cold, flu, headache. Good. Maybe you fall down and hurt yourself and you bruise your arm, something like that. These are minor scrapes and cuts. Major illnesses and injuries, anybody? Accident, good. Especially if you break a bone, or you think you might have broken a bone. Absolutely. Death is very major. Absolutely right. One of the most major. One of the most. Anything else? Oh, a heart attack. Panic attacks. Okay, so panic attacks, I would say that maybe the first time it may seem so serious that you may want to go to the hospital, but if you know that you have panic attacks, okay, so panic attacks can actually feel like you're going to die, but you're not necessarily going to die, right? We've had it die before. Okay. I'm going to talk about something else after this. I'm going to talk about the Kidney Save program, which can be great with giving you tools for things like panic attacks. Yeah. I'm sorry. Well, actually, death is actually covered. So, return to the home country, return of the body to the home country. Not that I like talking about this early in the presentation, but yeah, I think it was a joke. But return of the body to the host country is actually covered, and accidental AD&D, there's also AD&D coverage as well. Things like broken bones, severe bleeding, things like this are eligible for coverage under the policy, and there are things that you should go to the emergency room. Okay. So many people come from countries in which you would probably go to the hospital if you have a cold or flu, because you think you may get better care. I lived in Korea for 10 years, and I would go to the hospital every once in a while, not often, but if I had a really bad flu, it would be flu, etc. And I was well taken care of. In Canada, that's not the case. In Canada, if you go to the hospital with a cold or flu, you're just going to get sicker. You're going to be there for hours and hours and hours. And I know somebody, I actually don't know somebody. So when I was in Nova Scotia, somebody told me of a student from their university that was in the hospital for 17 hours waiting because she had a really bad cold. I think her cold got better, and then she got sick again in the hospital. She was there for so long. But you can wait a very long time. And usually it's not that long here, but you can wait 6 to 8 hours if you show up with something minor like a cold. They will also ask you to pay up front. They'll ask you to pay at least $500. So you will get better care for minor illnesses and injuries at a clinic. For major illnesses and injuries, go to a hospital. Okay. One of the reasons, okay, just one second. One of the reasons for that is because they do something called triaging here. So they assess your condition based on its seriousness, based on its severity. If it's very, very serious, then you'll go to the front of the line. If it's not so serious, you might go to the back of the line. And then if somebody else comes in with the condition more serious, then they'll go in front of you. So you can just keep waiting for hours. Yeah? Okay.
I have to pay this. I have something that I did. I needed to meet it. I didn't know if it and
Okay, I'll cover claims in a little bit. The question is, how long do I have to submit a claim? Right? So up to 1 year, up to 1 year from the date of the incident to submit a claim, I would always suggest submitting the claim much earlier, just in case we need more medical records or more information. It's a lot easier to get that information as soon as possible after the event. Okay? So, picture of a hospital waiting area, you can wait a long time. The back of your Guard health card has 2 phone numbers. One is a toll-free number. It's good for anywhere in North America. You can call us through that toll-free number. The other is a local number, and you can call from anywhere in the world by calling collect. Okay? You should never, ever pay for a call to GuardMe. And there are a couple of reasons that you may want to call us. First, you may have some questions. Secondly, if you've been told that you should be admitted to the hospital, or if you're going to be admitted to the hospital, please give us a call as soon as possible before, or as soon as possible after. If you can't call us before, as soon as possible after. But always, if you've been asked to get diagnostic treatment, extensive diagnostic treatment like MRI or CAT scan, please give us a call. A couple of reasons for this. They're very expensive tests. They can cost a couple of $1,000 a piece. And you want to know that you're going to be covered for it. Sometimes doctors will suggest that you get a test, even if it's not medically necessary. Okay? You want to make sure that you're going to be covered for the test. Also, our finance department can connect with the finance department at the hospital or whatever the case may be, and make payment on your behalf so that you don't have to pay them first. All right? So these are very expensive tests, so please call us first. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay, great. Yeah.
What if you're in a situation where you physically couldn't call?
Okay, that's a great question. So let's say this would be if you're in the hospital, right? If you physically can't call, then just as soon as possible afterwards. Or hopefully maybe somebody else can
Someone
maybe
can call on your behalf.
Yeah. Okay. We want to know as soon as we can afterwards. The worst thing in the world is to be in the hospital and have somebody putting invoices on your debt, right? You don't want that. It's one less thing you have to deal with. Okay. So, if you go to a clinic or a hospital, always bring your GuardMe ID card. I would suggest putting it in your wallet or your purse and just keeping it in there. Also, if you go to a clinic that is not direct billing, bring money to pay for the visit. If you go to an emergency room at the hospital, they will ask you to pay up front. And it will be at least $500 if you go to an emergency room. If you are there and require medical assessment or medical treatment urgently, they can't turn you away, so it has to be invoiced. Okay. Does everybody know what invoicing is? Yeah? Okay, so you can ask to be invoiced, they will give you a bill, basically in advance, right? And then you would submit that invoice to us so that we can pay the hospital directly. Make sense? Okay. But always have, if you're going to a clinic that's not in our direct billing network, make sure that you have money to pay for the visit. So what is direct billing? Direct billing is when you go to a clinic that's in our preferred network of clinics. And you can find that on the website. I'll explain that in about a minute. But for eligible visits, they will bill us directly so that you don't have to pay money up front. So in order to find a direct billing clinic, you go to our website. And can somebody tell me what the website is? For some funky sunglasses. Say one more time. You got it. Awesome. So, and I say dot instead of point. You're absolutely right. So www.guard.me and click on clinics. Find the clinic. So there, you'll be directed to a page where you can put in the province and city that you're in. So in Toronto, you can put Toronto, Ontario. In Vancouver, British Columbia. We have a network of clinics across Canada. So wherever you are in Canada, you can search the local direct billing clinics. Now, if a clinic doesn't appear on our website, it's not a direct billing clinic. It means that you have to pay up front. You can go to any clinic that you like. You're not restricted to the clinics that you can go to. But if it's not on our website, it means you have to pay money up front, and then you can claim for reimbursement. Okay? Does that make sense? Yeah. Great. So these are the local direct billing clinics in Toronto, for example. And there's more than this. If you go to a clinic outside of our direct billing network, make sure that you make a claim for it so that you can get reimbursed, okay, for eligible expenses. And there's two ways to make a claim. The first is online, the second is by mail. Online is the fastest, easiest way to make a claim and to get your money back. This is for claims less than $1,000. The claims process online is very quick, doesn't take a long time, just a few minutes once you get used to it. And I think the turnaround time is about 7 days, so they can assess your claim in about 7 days. Yeah. How long does it take for reimbursement? So online, it's about 7 days for them to assess the claim. If you ask for the money to be directly billed into your bank account, I think the bank holds it for a couple of days. I don't know why. In 2016, I have no idea why that happens, but it does. So, but fairly quickly anyway. By mail, we're limited by mail delivery times. So, if you have a choice, the best way to do it is online. Okay. So, if your claim is over $1,000, it has to be mailed in. You don't have a choice at this point. Yeah. I will go over how to make that. Thank you. So this is your claim form. This is your claim form. This is the paper claim form. So things that we ask you to let us know in the paper claim form. First and foremost, who do we pay? Do we pay you? Did you pay the money up front and you want us to reimburse you? If so, you would put me. Do we pay your uncle? If so, you would put somebody else, and then you put your uncle's information. Or it might be the medical provider. Maybe you have an invoice from the hospital and you want us to pay the hospital directly. Okay, so that's very important. Some other information that we need to know if this was a car accident or not. If it's a car accident, you need to actually go through the car insurer first, and then you would claim to us for anything that the car insurer didn't pay for that's eligible for coverage. Okay. You would also tell us when and why you saw the doctor, and if it's by mail, you include original receipts and invoices. Okay, and always take a photocopy and keep those for your records. If it's online, then I would suggest that you always scan and upload, or on your smartphone, just take a picture of the original receipts and invoices, not photocopies, just because the quality is better on originals, and make sure you keep those originals for yourself. Always good to have records. Not just for this, but it's a good lesson to learn in life. It's always good to have records, just in case. And of course, we need to be signed and dated as well. So online, we go to our website, which is, what's the website again? Somebody over here? Awesome. Many people said it, but this gentleman has a hand up. So there you go. Nice. So www.guard.me, and you click on My Claim. That'll bring you to a page like this, and here you put in your policy number. Your policy number is on the front of your card, and it identifies you as, it's actually a very unique number. So there might be more than one person with your name, but it identifies you as you specifically, that policy number. Okay, so it's important to have a policy number and your date of birth. Click next, and you're on your way. If you're not sure, I don't know if I don't have a laser pointer on here, but if you're not sure how to make a claim, it's your first time or something, you can view the video tutorial. The video tutorial is a how-to. It just shows you from step by step, from the beginning to the end, how to make a claim. Okay. There's no speaking, just a little bit of elevator music in the background. And what I suggest that people do is open that up, keep that in a separate window so that you can just go back and forth, right, when you're making your claim. Makes it very, very easy for you. So, usually I would show you a 2-minute turbo video, but we're a little bit, I'm keeping mindful of time today because I want to show you another presentation. I want to talk to you about something else as well. But if you go to our website, and our website is, that's so tough to choose. I'm just going to give out some band-aids tonight. So, there. Hopefully I don't create any shows. Make sure you can pass that to something else. Okay. Yes, I'm creating the need. It's all about creating the need. But if you go to our website, you can see our little mascot Turbo, and there's a video there that gives a 2-minute summary of using your insurance, of what your insurance policy covers, and basically the things that I've talked about. One thing that you'll see in there that I haven't talked about, but I'll mention right now quickly, is that there is an alcohol and drug exclusion in this policy. And what that basically means is that if you, let's say for example, you drink 12 beers, you get up on the table and you start dancing, and then you fall off the table and break your leg. It's quite likely, and I say quite likely because it's always up to our claims team to assess, but it's quite likely that that broken leg won't be covered under the conditions of this policy because alcohol likely contributed to your broken leg. Does that make sense? Yeah. Whereas if you're having a few beers with friends, you're walking down the street and something falls off, you know, a sign on a building falls off and hits you on the head, it's quite likely that alcohol didn't contribute to that. So it's much more likely that that would be covered. Does that make sense? Yeah. So the message there is drink responsibly, have fun, but have fun responsibly. Okay? Good. Any questions about the insurance? Yes.
Is medication included in this?
Great question. Yeah. So medication up to a 30-day supply is covered as long as the condition is eligible for coverage. So, for example, if I went to a doctor with a cold and the doctor gave me a prescription to get some cold medicine, that would be eligible for coverage. If I go to a pharmacy and I just pick something up off the shelf, I'm not eligible for coverage. If during my visit the doctor said to me, you know what, your hair is a little bit thin, you should try this as well, right? All medicine will be covered. Okay, so up to 30 days supply is covered, and refills are not covered for the same medication. But if you're sick, again, you need different medication for that, you know, that condition, eligible for coverage. Yeah.
First of all, I would like to say it's a great plan. But do you have any data that how much population of international students use this study? And
We have almost 200,000 students.
200,000.
Yeah.
No,
Well, that was the
voluntary.
So the international students in the system are all
But we have the biggest population.
yes, yeah. I think your international office would probably be able to answer that at another time, maybe. Yeah.
And do you have data that how much population is all the how much international students in this plan and how much we are not?
Yeah, we could probably talk about that. I don't have that data off the top of my head. We could probably talk about that.
Another question. Do you like to research there on schools that students are okay with it or not? Are they facing trouble with it?
We have had very good feedback generally. I'm not sure of the question. So have we had feedback?
How you get feedback like you are baseline?
So what? Okay, I got you. So what we do is we talk to the college every year. We see the things that are working, things that aren't working. We actually met with the student union a few months ago as well. And we try to get an idea of things that are working, things that aren't working. And if need be, we can always tweak the plan. Okay, but you know, with insurance, you have the potential to have everything covered, in which case it would mean, you know, you go to a doctor and you want to get plastic surgery, it's covered. It'll cost thousands of dollars a year for everybody. Everybody in this room will pay thousands of dollars per year just for the insurance, but everything would be covered. With your plan, I think it's about $550 per year or so, and the important things are covered, right? So it's always a balancing act between affordability of the plan and you know, what kinds of things are covered. So this plan was arrived at because this is what Centennial College wanted to have for its students, and it is a comprehensive emergency health insurance plan. If there's a lot of questions like this, maybe we can talk about it later, just because we are a little bit concerned about time. Yeah.
What about a chronic illness, like if you're diagnosed with cancer or something? That's obviously.
Okay, so yeah, so I mean, if you're diagnosed with a chronic illness after the policy start date, something like cancer, then you're covered. Your hospitalization is covered. No, once you're in the hospital, medications, lab testing, treatments, doctors' visits, anything like that is covered. Okay.
What if it forced you to not be a student?
As long as your coverage is valid, then you're covered. I mean, if you stop becoming a student and you don't have a valid policy anymore, that's a different story, right? So, yeah. Yeah.
What category you osteoarthritis or osteoarthritis or?
So if the osteoarthritis predated the insurance policy, it would be considered chronic ongoing. So what to do? Okay, so where would I put it? Would it be eligible for coverage?
Yeah.
So well, if it's new, then it would be treated as a new and emergent condition. So an emergent condition is the condition that requires medical treatment, and it would be treated. Once it's stable, then the ongoing maintenance of that condition wouldn't continue. So if you were given medication to maintain stability,
for more than 30 days.
right.
What you're saying is that a prescription is repeated.
That's right. Yeah.
So
Yes. So so when the condition is, once the condition is stable, then it wouldn't be eligible for routine maintenance costs. You understand? Yeah. Okay. If it's not stable yet, it will be covered until it's stable. Okay. Yes.
That's for a year, right? So what if those coverage wouldn't cover revenues and that's only for 1 semester?
It just depends on how much is going to be purchased by the school. So if the school purchases 1 semester, they're covered for 1 semester. If the school purchases a year, yes.
I'll jump in. So we always buy policies up until the end of August. So if you came in September, you would get a full year. If you came in January, it would just be the 2 semester. If you came in May, just that 1 semester. Until the end of August, yeah.
Okay. I think we're good. If anybody has any other questions, please feel free to ask. Maybe okay, one more, right? So the cost for this insurance is $5 per day. We can, for recent graduates, we may be able to work something out. Why don't you ask me about that afterwards? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So one more for the insurance. Yeah. Okay, good question. So eye exams, an annual eye exam costs $100. We don't, under this policy, corrected eye isn't eligible for coverage, but an eye exam after $100. Okay, so thank you very much. That concludes the insurance presentation. I would like to talk to you now about a program that's not insurance. So as you probably know, insurance is for times that you don't expect to be coverage. Okay? This is what I want to talk to you about now is it's called Keep Me Safe, and this is a service. Insurance, everybody hopes they don't use insurance, because if you use the insurance, it means you're sick, right? Actually, the insurance company also hopes you don't use the insurance, because if you're sick, you have to pay money, right? With the Keep Me Safe program, we actually hope you use it as much as you need. What the Keep Me Safe program is it's a mental health support program for international students, specifically for international students. And I want to explain a little bit about that to you. Okay, so what is mental health, first of all? So mental health is the capacity to feel, think, and act in ways that enhance our ability to enjoy life and to deal with life's challenges. Okay? Everybody has mental health. Everybody has mental health. Anybody here doesn't have mental health? Anybody not have physical health? So everybody's got physical health and mental health. Everybody's on, a different part of that spectrum. So just like with physical health, we can have good mental health, or some days not so good, right? Good mental health allows us to perform at our best in school, in relationships, when challenges come to us, and in all areas of our life. And on the other side, poor mental health can negatively impact our performance in all of those areas, in school, relationships, when challenges come to us, and in other areas of our life as well. The mental health issues are a lot like other health issues. If you had a sprained ankle, would you see a doctor? Probably not. And a doctor would probably help you speed your healing along with that sprained ankle, right? If you had a sore throat that wasn't going away, would you see a doctor? Yeah. Maybe if it was sore for 2 days, you wouldn't, but if it was sore for a month, you'd probably see a doctor, right? And you may need antibiotics or something like that to help you get a little bit better. So mental health issues, just like physical health issues, get better with treatment, with proper treatment. There's a statistic that 1 in 5 students will suffer with some mental health issue. And I would go as far as to say that 1 in 5 students always have some not always, but there are different students at different times, but 1 in 5 students would have a mental health issue that's actually impacting their performance in some way. So in each of these rows, I'm not going to point at anybody, but in each of these rows, on average, maybe 1 person would have an issue that's negatively impacting them. So how do you feel today? Which one of these students is struggling here? What would you say? The fourth? The last one? The second one? The third one? Who knows? Everybody's got a different method, right? The point is, we don't know. We don't know unless somebody says something, right? Some people may put on a happy face, but at 2 o'clock in the morning, at 3 o'clock in the morning, they're struggling. Right? Some people may cry easily because they don't like their lunch, but they're very happy people, right? So it's difficult to tell, and we don't know unless people say it. In English, we use weighty language to describe issues that are troubling us and potentially affecting our performance. So we might say things like, she's weighed down with guilt. He has a lot on his mind. I have a heavy heart. He's shouldering a burden. The situation is weighing on me. or she's carrying emotional baggage. And these are great, great metaphors. These are great ways of describing issues that are troubling us and weighing us down to the point where they affect our performance. If you imagine you have two runners, right? Both are fit, both are skilled, and both are ready to run a race, but one of them is holding bags. Which one is going to run a better race? The second one? I don't think so. Absolutely the first one, right? The one with the bags. Now what if the second one were to give the bags to somebody else? Or put the bags down? Then they would be able to run to the best of their ability. And performance in school, performance in relationships is a lot like this. If we're not carrying that baggage, we can perform to the best of our ability. So I want to talk about a couple of different things that affect, I think, all international students. One is culture shock. What is culture shock? Anybody? You start with one finish? Want to finish? Okay, excellent. So, sorry, I see that creates stress. I shouldn't do that. Bad me. So, because of the enormous difference between two cultures, your home country culture and your new host culture, after a while, those differences create lots of stress. And somebody tell me about some of the differences. Just shout out a difference. Accommodations. I don't know. What do you think? I'm gonna charge you with a college. Lots of differences, and in the educational world as well. Probably differences in the academic world, how education works, right? When I was in India a few years ago, I asked somebody directions to my hotel, and they gave me directions, and I just wanted to check, and I said, "So this way, right?" And he's like, "But you said it was this one." So I mean, and of course in India, I can't really do it because my neck's open, but in India, that means yes, right? So all of those things can create stresses. So relationships, everybody has to deal with relationships. Dealing with friends, partners, family members, etc. School, there's a lot to navigate through with school. We have to manage stress, it's political science, homework, exams, right? And manage relationships there for sure. So, is this normal or weird? Yeah, this is not Spain or something. Or like 20 Spain. Yeah, so they're throwing tomatoes. In Spain, on the days that they do this, it's quite normal. It seems a little bit strange to the onlooker, right? How about this? Weird or normal? It depends on where you're coming from and probably what you're going through at the time. So a culture shock, as we said, is the stress that you feel because of the enormous differences between the culture that you're coming from and the culture that you're in now. And at first, when you first come to a new culture, everything is new and exciting. And you might make that phone call home, and you might say, "Mom, Dad, or best friend, whoever it is, you wouldn't believe how different things are here. This is awesome. This place is awesome. It's just so different." And then, nope. And then after a month, 13 months, and it's different for everybody, it's like, you wouldn't believe just how different things are. This place is nuts. And it's very, very different. It changes a little bit, right? Yes. And at this point, this is when you're starting to feel more disappointment and frustration. And everybody experiences culture shock a little bit differently based on your own personality. So some people may tend to turn things inwards, become a little bit shyer or withdrawn, and not really know why they don't feel so outgoing, and maybe they're feeling a little bit sadder than usual. Other people may put it out there and externalize it, right? And become a little bit irritable when they get frustrated. Maybe even a little bit angry and not know why they're feeling like that. But let me tell you right now that culture shock is totally normal. Everybody goes through culture shock. Everybody goes through it a little bit differently. You have to. You have to go through it to get to the other side. Right? And everybody goes through it a little bit differently. So if you are experiencing these things, and you may not be right now, but you may be in the one, just know that it's normal and that you will get through it. So that's stage 2, is the disappointment, the frustration, the bad feelings. Stage 3 is adjustment or recovery. So this is when you start learning ways to cope with the stresses that you're feeling. Okay, so and also where you're getting social supports, you're meeting people that help get you through this. At these stages 2 and 3, it's fantastic to be able to talk to a qualified counselor who can help remove some of that baggage, remove some of that weight from you, and help give you the tools that you can use to get to the other side. Stage 4 is acceptance. So this is the stage at which you're feeling like, wow, I can handle this, I can do this, this is great. This is kind of like my own culture. Now the funny thing is, it's not like your own culture, and I know this because I was in Korea for 10 years. I started thinking that I was culturally fluent in Canadian culture and Korean culture, and I came back to Canada and I had culture shock all over again. So it's funny because you can experience that reverse culture shock when you go back. So relationships, we have a lot of different kinds of relationships, right? Everybody here has Facebook. I'm probably dating myself by bringing up Facebook first because everybody's got a lot more on Facebook these days. But I bring up Facebook because we have Facebook friends. We have our closer group of friends as well, right? We have relationships with parents. We have relationships with siblings. We have relationships with teachers at school. We have relationships with colleagues in class. We have lots of different kinds of relationships. And many of those relationships span different cultures. So relationships are really complicated to navigate. If you're having issues with relationships, and all of those require different degrees of respect and compromise and privacy and boundaries and all of that, you're having issues with relationships, sometimes it's really, really helpful to talk to somebody. Was that 10 minutes more? Thank you very much. Okay, so we've got 10 more minutes. So speaking with somebody can help you navigate these things. In school, there's a lot to navigate as well. Our educational system here may be very different from your educational system back where you come from. Time management may not have been an issue for you back home, maybe it's an issue for you here. Time management is something that this Kiwi Safe service can help you with. Okay? It's actually one of our most popular things that people call in for. When you're studying for exams, some of you may never have had to work in a group before, in an educational setting. Is there anybody like that here in your home country? Did you just do individual work, no group work? Anybody?
You did group work, but it's different here.
But it's different here.
Yeah. It's more stressful here.
It's more stressful here.
Less cooperation. Yeah.
Less cooperation. Okay. Yeah. And that's different people have different values, absolutely. And it's not easy to navigate that stuff. Sometimes having a third party to bounce things off and get ideas from and tools and strategies can be really helpful. But I think everybody here probably has the pressure to succeed, right? From within, but also from back home too. Right? So all of these things add to the pressures. So the Kiwi Safe service is a service that is completely confidential. When you use this service, nobody will know that you've used the service unless you tell them. It's a service that you can use 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can call it day and night. It doesn't cost you anything to use the service. And you're connecting with a qualified counselor, somebody who has a master's level or greater degree in counseling psychology. And they all have at least 5 years experience working with people who haven't lived in their home country. So expatriates, international students, people like that. Okay? And most of these have also had their own personal experience living outside their home country. You can also request to speak with somebody who speaks your language and somebody who's from your culture, right? So if you are from somewhere in northern Russia, you can ask for somebody who speaks Russian and somebody who knows what it's like to grow up in northern Russia. If you're from northern India, you can ask for somebody who speaks English, because maybe you spoke English growing up, but you want somebody who knows what it's like to grow up in India, right? So this is available to you through the service. So let me explain a bit more. When you call in or when you access the website, and that's the website, I'll show it in a little bit, but the website is www.keepmesafe.org, and I'll flash the phone number as well. You get immediate support, okay? And if you choose, and most people do choose, you can make an appointment to see somebody in person, because maybe you just like talking to somebody in person more than on the phone. You can make an appointment to speak with somebody by video. So have a video counseling session, because sometimes maybe your schedule doesn't permit for you to go and meet somebody, but sitting, in front of your computer is a lot more comfortable. You can also have an email counseling session. Some people just prefer just to get all of their thoughts down in their native language, send it off to a qualified counselor, and get that valuable feedback, right? And you can usually get that back, I think, within 24 hours or 48 hours or something. And that exchange can continue, right? It doesn't have to, it's not just a one-time exchange, it can continue. Text, like chat counseling, you can do that as well. Some people are a lot more comfortable just on their smartphone, so you can get the guidance of a qualified counselor through text, and also on the phone as well. Okay. So the professional counselors are from all around the world. We have tens of thousands of counselors that we've leveraged worldwide. So what can you talk about? You can talk about a bunch of things. Anything you can think about. Anxiety, stress, loneliness, homesickness, sadness, feeling tired, cultural issues, substance abuse, relationship conflicts. You can actually have relationship counseling with your partner if you choose. School performance, help with time management, as I mentioned before, this is a very, very popular one, time management, and anything that's troubling you. Okay, so these are the different ways in which you can connect with a counselor. The first time that you connect, didn't want to get there yet. The first time that you connect, you do it through the website, www.keepmesafe.org, or the phone number. And you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. You can check us out on YouTube. Okay. I'm going to leave this up here right now. And why don't, does anybody have any questions? We still got a couple of minutes. 3. Okay. Well, it's absolutely confidential counseling, so I don't even know right now, but you would find out if when you access the first time, either through the website or on the telephone, you would ask to make an appointment with somebody, and they would give you the address of the time. And just so you know, there would never be 2 students from Centennial whose appointments follow each other, just so there's no way that anybody can know that you're actually seeing somebody. Okay? Yeah. Yeah.
Basically 1 year, and I haven't received a card. I didn't get a print out, but I haven't received a card.
You haven't received your ID card. So, did you talk to the international office about that? Okay, so that's, yeah.
So now you know that actual card that someone had, you actually have just got an email, they're emailing it to you today. So all you do is print it out, you don't even really need to, I mean, you can print it out if you want, or you can just show the policy number to the doctor or the hospital. If you want to do, you can.
You cannot just tell them your.
Yeah, so you print it out,
Yeah.
print it out, yeah. So, yeah, bring the hard copy. Yeah, it's a good idea to keep a copy in your wallet or your purse. But some will accept the, if you have it on your smartphone, some will, okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah, so you should actually print it out, put it in your wallet or your purse. Anybody else? Yes. So this is something that GuardMe offers. It's a service that GuardMe offers, but it's not insurance. It's a service that you can use as much as you want. Yeah. Yeah. And this was paid for by Centennial College. There was a cost for this. It was paid for by Centennial College. And so it's already paid for. You might as well use it as much as you need. Yeah.
First time happened is that we have to provide certain details to them.
Do you have to provide?
Certain details to them.
Oh, okay, great question. When you call in or when you connect with us on the website, you just identify yourself as a Centennial College student, and that's enough. They will ask you some information, some personal information that will not be used. It's only used to identify you, or if you lose a connection, they need to call you back or something like that. But it's absolutely confidential, so it's not tied to a policy number or anything like that. You call in and you say that I'm a Centennial student, and they'll know to speak with you. Do we have time for one more? One more? Quick.
It's for visual exam, for eye exam.
Oh, going back to the insurance? Okay.
The eye exam, they cover, they're eligible for a visit.
That's right.
So if I need glasses, I need contacts, we'll cover for the visit.
So yes, so under this policy, eyeglasses and contact lenses and things like that aren't covered. But the eye test itself is covered up to $100 per year. 1 per year. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. We can always talk about that. Yeah? Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great